Hi, I'm Pat Baer, and this is Pat Baer's Anime Club. This is my ongoing series where I talk about something from the world of anime, whatever really gets me interested in the moment. It could be a deep dive on a subgenre, it could be a look at the current anime season or a future anime season, or it could be, like it is in this case, it's me paying off something I talked about doing earlier this year. I rewatched Devilman Crybaby. I will link in the show description below. I will link to the video where I talked about shows and movies that I've never returned to, one-off experiences, or maybe I've seen it twice, but never again. I don't need to see it again. I loved it, but I don't need to see it again. And I included in that Devilman Crybaby. And I said, well, I'm never going to see that again because it's devastating. And I did say in that video that if there was something on that list that I would see again, it might be Devilman Crybaby around Halloween. Well, at the time of this video's release, it's almost Halloween 2025. So I watched Devilman Crybaby, the Netflix original net series. That's what a lot of people call videos that don't appear on Japanese television. They're net animations. Produced by Science Saru for the 50th anniversary of the career of the creator of the manga Devilman Go. This is a look at, it's a reimagining, it's a modernization. It is, in some ways, an attempt to do right by Devilman, which originally appeared in a shonen book. So it was appealing towards young men, so perhaps the violence couldn't be as high when it originally came out. And in 2018, just being on the internet, on Netflix, it certainly could be more violent. And yeah, I watched it again. I watched all 10 episodes again. I should note for history's sake, the last 2 episodes, 9 and 10, I did watch in a hotel lobby. I was unfortunately traveling and hadn't finished the series. And so I watched episodes 9 and 10 at like 1 a.m. in a hotel lobby, trying to make sure that no one walked by me to see what was on the screen. It was either that or do it on a flight, and I wasn't going to do it on a flight. This show is still unsettling. It is still gorgeous to look at. Science Saru does not miss, but it is still an unbelievably difficult watch in some parts. Incredibly frustrating to watch, and often borderline nihilistic in its worldview. I will not spoil the plot, but I will talk about the differences between this series and the first one. And I will also talk about, the manga, because there have been many anime adaptations. I'll also just kind of chat about, like, how I feel about it as from now in 2018. It's been years now. It still holds up visually, and I think I like it more. So there are a couple, in my opinion, big changes. Let's make it 21st century changes. One is the focus on a different kind of othering. Devilman, by all accounts, according to the manga, according to people that knew him, is an anti-war statement. The battle between humanity and demons and then again humanity versus humanity is an allegory for war and the horrors of war and a nihilistic view on humanity, and can they find lasting peace? Do they even want lasting peace? That's been modernized. In 2018, we're looking at through the lens of social media, the good and bad of it. We're looking more at the othering of people. In first case, demons, and thinking that, like, oh, there can't be anything good about this, there can't be anything good about these people, but then also humanity's disgust with each other and our lack of trust with one another. There are atrocities in this show committed by humans and demons alike. And even some late anime, late series twists don't really undo that. It just maybe even makes it worse. So that also leads to a nihilistic viewpoint that is like, oh, well, if we're dealing with the othering of race or sexual orientation, important issues to talk about, things that humans need to all get on the fucking same page about, obviously. But if there is no way for that to happen, as this anime seems to postulate, then that is nihilistic, which leads to that feeling why I didn't think I'd ever watch this show again, because it left me feeling empty. Both times, both viewings have left me feeling empty. I'll say this in the positive. A thing I liked more in 2025 that I didn't love as much in 2018 is the use of hip hop. There's a lot of hip hop. While I did know who Ken the 390, Ken the 390, I was aware of who Ken the 390 was. He does a voice role in the show, and also was in charge of producing all of the hip hop, original and purchased hip hop that is in the show. At first, I was like, they turned bullies into rappers. That's weird. The Greek chorus for this show are hip hop folks. I didn't love it because it felt too different from it felt like an unnecessary change from the original. They could have just been high school bullies. They didn't need to be specifically rappers. But years later now, 7 years later, I can look at it and go, that's kind of cool. It's contemporary at the time. It's still contemporary. And like, if you look at it through the lens of a creator looking at hip hop culture as truth tellers, as the modern Greek chorus, like, all right, yeah. Like, if you think that hip hop is the most honest form of music, then its inclusion in this show is totally reasonable. And at 2018, like, it's been a while since we had some hip hop in anime. It's not that often. And so was it kind of weird for the soundtrack to have a lot of hip hop in it? At the time, yeah. And now, also, yeah. Like, I feel like if it came out this year, it would be like, there'd be a butt rock in it. Way more butt rock than you would imagine. You'd still have a member of Queen Bee doing a cover of the original theme song within the anime. Which I don't remember. Look, I can't tell you that I caught that. I wouldn't have known it was Queen Bee at the time, a member of Queen Bee. But I don't know if in 2018 I caught that there was like an episode of the cartoon within the anime, and then that music was a cover. I don't know if I picked that up, but this time around I was like, wait, and I had to look it up, and it went, oh yeah, somebody from Queen Bee did that. Cool. Shout out to Queen Bee. Cool musical group. I have a few more thoughts here. I've written down some notes of things I wanted to talk about. Overall, I guess I should say, because this is kind of, like I said, this is a little scattershot of a video. This is not going to be the longest Pat Bear's Anime Club video. This was more of a thought experiment. I'm glad I did this. That is a note here. Are you happy you did it? As unsettling as this show is, as violent as the show is, as I've said, nihilistic this show presents itself to be, it's still gorgeous to look at. I mean, it's Science Saru. It's still brutal. And it's well written and well voice acted and well imagined. It is a lovely tribute to the original manga. And as I said, it goes places in its version that maybe you wouldn't have seen in the magazine. It kind of negates all sorts of other media of Devilman, which I think is fine. You don't have to be like... you do not have to care about the other Devilman properties to enjoy this. And I think that's great. You could just go in cold with the show and watch it and go like, oh, okay, this is like an older series, but like source material, but it's a modern version of it. Yeah, it still holds up. I don't want to watch it again. I can't say I'll never watch it again. At this moment, I do not want to. It is not on my list of things that I would like to go back to. I can't imagine a world where I'll see it again, but I will hold back on saying that I will never. I don't like using those statements. I'm only using always, never, those kinds of things, because you never know. You never know. I could decide to watch this again. I could come across this video in a few years and go, I should watch that. That's kind of fun. Maybe every 7 years I'll watch it again. I don't know. Should you watch Devilman Crybaby? Yeah, you should watch it. If it's a Science Saru you haven't seen yet, and you want to see the variety of that studio, you should check it out. If you have a fondness for fan subs of Devilman and Devilwoman, perhaps you want to watch this. If you're just looking for something horror and brutal and you want it to be anime for Halloween, yeah, this would work for that. I have watched other horror and mystery kinds of things for Halloween, and so I watched this again. If you're looking for one of the best anime of 2018, you could do way worse than Devilman Crybaby. It's a tough watch, I think, because of subject matter. But it's 10 episodes. They're about 25 minutes, give or take, each episode, because it didn't have to air on TV, so they could fluctuate a little bit. It's not a long series to watch through, but it's really, really good. And that's kind of where I leave things on Devilman Crybaby, and the fact that I rewatched Devilman Crybaby is that I'm glad I did. And I don't know if I would have if I hadn't talked about that previous video about never seeing it again. I don't know if I would have ever seen it again. And I'm glad I did, because I like it better. There are the things that I was like, I'm on board with in 2025. Like, yeah, I'm at a place where I'm much more into that show now than when I first watched it. I really liked it when I first watched it. If you can avoid watching episodes 9 and 10 in a hotel lobby, I would recommend it. I'll just say that. I'll recommend that if you can avoid that. That would be good for you. But that's going to do it for this episode of Pat Baer's Anime Club. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have thoughts on Devilman Crybaby, leave in the comments below. If you have videos that you would like to see in the future, if you have ideas for videos, if you want another weird manga premises video, or I don't know, there's a bunch of different things you could make a request for that I'll take a look at it. I'm always looking for ideas. I know I have my December videos done, and I believe I have all of November figured out. My next video will be recommendations for this season. I'm trying to do those more towards the middle of the season, because sometimes I stop watching a show I recommended because I just hit like the 4th episode and go, oh, actually, no, I'm good. So I'm going to do that next, and then there'll be another video in November, which I haven't quite decided yet, but I have ideas what that's going to be. And then December will be my top 10 at the end of the month. And also, I'll have to do a video at some point in December where I give my awards, my end of the year awards, because I really like making that. So yeah, I think I pretty much have that set up, but if you have any ideas for the future, you can also let me know if you're watching anything for the Halloween season. If you're watching any horror anime, you can let me know what you're checking out, because I always love hearing from you. And also, commenting is good for the algorithm, just like hitting the subscribe button or the like button. Thanks so much for watching this, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.